Okay, so last night spent a long time on all the electrics, trying to get the electrics to at least work with the lighting, and had to muck around a fair bit. Not too sure what happened, but I couldn't get the indicators to work, and then I realized that the fan didn't work. So I had to play around with the ignition switch, which seems to be working now, which is good. And I had to fix the housing for this this front parker light. So it works now. I just turn the ignition on. Okay. And then daylight. Yeah, we got both working. Just got to clean the terminals here a bit more. For the indicators, it is playing up a bit. There's the left, the right, and the left. So next up, we'll install the remote control housing. And I got a new rubber grommet that goes on the front here. Some new bolts, the original half bolts. We'll just get some spring washers for this. I've never done this before, so hopefully it's fairly straightforward to fit into the car. So I'll go ahead and fit that now. Okay, with not too much effort, we managed to get the remote control housing on, bolted up, new seal at the front here, and secured down at the back with the rear bracket. So that's done. Now we'll work on the inside of the car and get the gear stick in. So we've got the remote housing installed now, and I've cut just a little bit of an access hole to see where the gear stick column will go. And I've got this rubber gear lever cover here, but I don't know if this is the correct one for the Clubman. I think it is. I think this metal piece goes underneath the carpet, and same with the bottom part of the rubber here. So I've got to do a little bit more research into that just to make sure. And if it is, I'll just install it. There are holes there already around the perimeter of it, which I think line up with this, and this does look like, well, looks well used, and it probably is the right one for it. But we'll we'll peel the carpet back and have a look. Alright, after a bit of messing about with the carpet, didn't really cut it very well. There's a bit of a split here, but it's installed, gear stick's working, so first, second, third, fourth, and reverse. Now when we did the test run of the engine outside of the car, I just used a really cheap like Repco standard 2850 oil, the cheapest that I could find. It was just for a quick flush of the lines. Not going to use that oil again, it's just underneath the car. But yeah, we'll go ahead and use the proper stuff now, 2850. High zinc, I guess this has. The oil that came out after the really short engine run was nice and clean, but there would have been probably a lot of particles in there, so it's not worth using again. And this time round I put a bit of sealant around the sump plug because that was leaking as well. I think it's been cross-threaded at some stage. So after installing the cover plates and connecting up the Hardy Spicers, I'm pleased to see that there's no oil leaks under here. I filled it full of oil and left it overnight, and we've got a good intact seal between the cover plates and the diff. So that's good news. And now coming to the top, we've installed most of it now. It's all wired up pretty much. We've done a run on the electrics and they're working to some extent. I've just done a mock-up on this. It seems a bit high, like I don't really see how the bonnet's going to close down, but I suppose it will. I'll take this off. It was just a mock-up. We've got to install the cables now for the choke and everything. Still a bit to go, and as well with the brake line. And then we have to do the radiator, which I'll do a fair bit later. I just want to pressurize the brakes and make sure that that's not going to leak down there on the passenger side. So I've got a friend doing up the brake line at the moment. We just need one from here to the master. I'm using just for the moment my old PBR. I think it's a PBR model. Yeah, brake booster. Whilst I get the original one restored. So we got to tie that up as well. For now though, I'm going to proceed with installing the exhaust. So we've got a kit here, somewhere around here. Here it is. So I've got the full kit for the exhaust. So I'll get under the car now and install that. We got the new muffler sitting up there and the pipe at the front of the garage, so yep, I'll get under there and rig this up. I haven't done this before, so yeah, anyway, I'll figure it out. Alright, time to get to work. Alright, so I got my straight bit of exhaust pipe. I think this is the direction that's got to go. So I'll feed this in under the car at the back here, but just so you can see, fitted the new mount there with the hanger. And I've got a little bit of a leak there over on that brake line, so I've got to tighten that up or sort that out. But I'll go ahead and feed this new pipe down there and we'll mount it up. Okay, well that wasn't that bad. Probably took about 25 minutes, but I've got the new RC40 installed. It's a bit low. I probably could angle that a bit differently. But I have to go down the front now and clamp up where the the collector joins the exhaust pipe. So I'll go and clamp that up and then maybe come back here and adjust this height here, this position here. It's also hitting there, so I've got to address that. Alright, we're really making progress now. So we're going to, well actually we've just installed this bracket that holds the PCV valve up. And then behind that is the little bracket that feeds the accelerator or the throttle pedal, throttle cable into the twins. And now, so with the fuel line, this is one that I had before. It's just this, goes this way actually. So I had this on my old car. I was thinking of using this copper tube, but I might actually go instead with the one that came with the car, which could be the original one, which is this one here. I mean, it's pretty much the same. It's a bit bent out of shape, but that's okay. And it's been straightened at the end. I don't know if that's how it was by production, but yeah, look, I think I'll go ahead with that. We got some new flex hoses, so here, so they'll go on the ends there. It does come with these little clamps, but instead of fitting them, I managed to get a set of the originals. So these are like spring loaded, so we'll be fitting them onto the hoses. And then I've got another hose somewhere to connect this to the hard line that's just around the corner there. So I'll go ahead and install that. That copper hose is also held on by a little clamp, and this is the original clamp that just bolts onto the heat deflector, heat shield. I've zinc plated it, it's nice and shiny. It's great to still have this part because they often go missing and they're no longer procurable. So people just have to make one up out of tin, but fortunately we've got it. It's a bit bent out of shape, but it's the original piece, so I'll go ahead and install that onto the heat shield. Alright, there's the bracket. Put the spring clips on the hoses. Oops. That one just failed. There is a special tool you can buy to clamp these down, but I'm just going to use some vice grips, some cheap ones from the $2 shop. I'll get rid of the modern day clamp and it will install one of these instead. Hopefully it doesn't snap when I clamp it down. There we go. Alright, that's installed. It's a bit wonky here. It's not very straight. I've pushed as hard as I can to get this copper tube up into that hose. And I've fully installed it down here, which is great. So that's well and truly on that line there. But I won't install this hose onto here until later because the hard part's coming up soon. And that's going to be installing this radiator, and I need as much room as I can be afforded to mount the brackets and everything and install the radiator without damaging all the fins on the brand new fan here. So we'll do that at the very end. I'll probably even not install this until later. I think we may be able to install this after the radiator is installed, so we'll see how we go. So this was the PCV valve that was installed on the earlier GTs. The later GTs didn't have it. And so it's installed like this. Spring. That piece. Not that. Rubber seal. And then the top. This one was made in 1968. So I've replated it. And then there's this little spring that holds it in place. There. So that's installed. Okay, so overnight we bled the brakes and I tried to pressurize them. I've gone to all four wheels, had a little bit of trouble on the front driver's side. That wasn't bleeding properly. There was a line in the brake unit that was blocked, so we had to pull them apart, get rid of the blockage, and now we've got fluid flowing through to the bleed, which is great. And then I've just gone around to check all the fittings for leaks, and just at the rear here, at this T-junction, yeah, we've got some leaking just dripping down on the floor here, so I'll try and tighten that up and secure this leak. So this hub nut's now been tightened up, and according to my manual it should be 20 kilograms per meter. So I was able to dial that up on my torque wrench, but I had to get a breaker bar in between two of the wheel nuts. Put a little bit of undue load on these studs, which is a little bit dicey, but I got it up to there. And the brakes are also applied on this side as well to some extent, but I can see that the hole's just there, so I should be able to get the spring pin in there. So I'll go ahead and install that one now on that side. So that one's done, and we'll go ahead and do the other side. Don't need this sticker anymore. This was my warning to tell me not to drive without that tightened up. So that's done now. That sticker's been on there for like a year. Not the tidiest of hubs, but that'll do for now anyway. It's not a big deal. It's going to be covered up by a wheel. So yeah, I'll get this tape off and tidy this up and get the spring pin in there. Okay, so hub nuts are now installed. This Cussel nut actually stopped at 20 kilograms per meter right on the hole, so I had to go almost a hole flat around to get the hole exposed to put the spring pin in. So that one's done, both sides now, and we'll get on to the radiator. Okay, so it's time for the radiator. This hard line here for the brakes doesn't leak, so I'm satisfied with that. I'm going to go ahead and get the radiator installed now while the car's still up on the jacks. It's quite fiddly, so I'll just take my time with it. It's a bit of a jigsaw piece trying to get the bottom bracket in and then the radiator. It's quite hard, so what I'll do, I'll put some cardboard or something across the brand new fins take that up to secure them so none of these edges on the fan dig into the radiator's core. Got to get these little screws on the side of the radiator housing shroud, so just taking this one back out. I've got the other one down in there. Have to use a little 8mm spanner in there. Really tricky, but okay, we got the radiator in. We didn't manage to scratch up the grill, so it's nice. Fan's in good condition, so I'll now get the upper half on. We'll secure it onto the thermostat housing, and then I've got to install this hose clamp. I'm waiting for some classic hose clamps to arrive. They should come in the next day or two. They're just old style wire ones, so I'll take that one off down there. May even take this one off as well, replace them. I'm getting 4 of them. We'll definitely put one here and here, and I will take these off. I've got some old wire ones as well that can go there. That will look a little bit nicer. I don't really like these modern styles, so I'll take them off as well, and I'll replace that one over there as well. Anyway, it's coming together. I'll keep going, get that shroud on, and keep working on the hose clamps. Alright, I'll go ahead and fit the fuel line now that the radiator's in. And we'll check if we've got any fuel leaks. Alright, so we're on the home stretch now. I haven't started the car. I've just temporarily fitted this vacuum line to the booster, but I've been trying to bleed the brakes and I've spent pretty much an entire 500ml bottle on brake fluid. I can't get the pressure into the brake lines. There seems to be an endless stream of bubbles on all 4 lines. And this is leaking down here, this booster. So I'm going to take this booster out, undo this completely, and I'm just going to hardwire the master cylinder to the line, to the T-piece. And yeah, we're looking for any air loss or air leaks in the system. This is my backup booster, but this one, yeah, seems to be failing as well. The original booster's off getting overhauled at the moment, so that won't be back for another week or 2 at least. And yeah, for now we'll just try to make do and get a brake system that's working, no leaks, without the booster as part of the circuit. If we can establish that, then I'll wrap up with getting the hydroelastic fluid pumped back into the system, wheels pumped up, tyres on the ground, we'll roll it forward and we'll try to start the car up. So hopefully we can all do that all within a day and get a bit of progress on this. Anyway, I'll go and undo all this and yeah, hardwire it straight to the T-piece. Alright, so I've just bent this one into shape, this old one. Hopefully that's a solid seal. We'll see anyway when we start pumping it. What I'm also going to do is undo this side of the caliper as well. I need to press this out. I'll pop this out and clean up in there because this one wasn't moving when it was getting pumped. Alright, so this side of the caliper was not working properly. It was really stuck in there, so I've worked it out, given it a very light sand with 1500. Cleaned in there again, just rubbed a bit of 1500 without trying to damage the seal. Then it's working quite nice now, so I'll just put a little bit of brake fluid on the inside there and just on the piston, and it slides in really nicely now. So there we go, goes down, bit of air, comes straight out. That's nice. So yep, there we go. So we'll give this a clean up and I'll reinstall it. Okay, so I can't get the car off the jacks. So while the fronts are on the ground there and the rear on the back, I'm going to put some hydroelastic fluid back in there to jack it up. Otherwise it's just going to sink down on the jack. So I'll go ahead and do that. GT's now sitting on its feet. I've jacked it up well good. It's probably too good. It'll sink down anyway. I've got it at 20 bar on each side. So what we're going to do now is going to roll it out, get a little bit of air, and try and start it over in outside the garage, or slightly outside the garage. So off camera I made these leads up. I've got these orange caps or boots for the spark plug leads, and yeah, they look pretty nice. I've just reused some old caps that go on, or boots that go on the distributor, and these are to length to the GT. So I think there's two that are 17 inch and then two that are 13 inch in length. So I'll go and fit them and we'll try and turn it over. Alright, just spent the rest of the afternoon getting this running. Had a bit of a coolant leak. It seems to have stopped, but it's happening around where the engine number is. But I'll give it another crank, see how we go. Just make sure it's not in gear. Alright. Alright, I'm going to turn it off because it's getting pretty late. I'll put this on and the grill, and we'll give it another run tomorrow morning. So I spent most of this afternoon having to sort out the brake light. So we got, I think, the brake light working with the little pressure switch that's over on the right hand side of the engine bay. But I had the wires around the wrong way, so it's a 2-filament globe and they were switched around, so I couldn't get my hand behind here because of the fuel tank, so I've had to undo it bit by bit with these little nuts on the back of it. So I got it out so I could switch these around. Now I'll just try to install it and we'll see how the brakes go. We haven't got much time now. We've got about 2 weeks before the car show, so we've got to get this installed. So let's have a look. There we go. Packed nicely. And yep. That's one shiny, restored brake unit. Uh-oh. This is the wrong unit. It's flipped around the wrong way. Bugger. I'll try and get in there with a spanner and just loosen all these off and spin this around. And there we have it, folks, all reversed. So we got the screws over, or the studs over on this side now, and the one-way valve on the engine side. So it wasn't too hard in the end, and just kept on wearing the gloves so I didn't tarnish the plating. So that's fine now. Reorientated that. I was thinking about actually connecting this up to one of my little vacuum pumps that I use for the brake bleed and just checking that I've got a vacuum in there. So I might rig up the line and do that now, just see that we get solid vacuum. There could be a bit of a loss of vacuum through the seal that's in this cup as well at the top here. It's not a very good seal, but it appears to be holding. Alright, so this is good to go. We can go ahead and install this now into the car and configure the rest of the brake lines to match it up. Okay, I've just realised I've stuffed this up still, or I haven't stuffed it up, but I didn't realise that this tube here has to be over on that side as well. So I don't know what they've done, but everything's orientated the wrong way around. So I've got to take this housing off, rotate it, and then bring this pipe over on that side. I've made a crude shape of the profile for the brake line that goes from the master cylinder to the brake booster. So one bend here and then a large bend up there, just with a bit of coat hanger wire just to make sure I got the length right for my brake line, which is here. So that does work. And what we'll do now, I'll just bend it into shape. I'll start up here first because I want that bend to be correct. and then it will go down at an angle, and then one more bend here. So I'll bend that into shape now and install the hard line. Okay, so we got the rough shape. I'll have to just bend it a little bit more so it just gets into the thread properly, but it looks like it'll be pretty much spot on. All right, we'll go ahead and fit the line from there to the junction now. So I'll just feed this down now and we'll just have a look at the situation with this hydroelastic unit. There you can see the fluid just sitting on the top of the unit and a little bit wet around that swaged fitting. So yeah, time to take it out and swap it out. Got the top arm out with a bit of struggle, but it's out now, so the hydroelastic bag is able to be dropped down. So I just have to disconnect the line now, and then we'll be able to turn that out and drop it down. And there we have it, the bag is out. Very, very wet. Alright, here's the two bags. No idea on the condition of this. I just picked it up on eBay. The seller said that it came off with no leaks, and he would guarantee it if it does leak, he'll swap it out with another bag that he has. So he's pretty confident that was okay. So yeah, I'll just swap out the diaphragm down here and put in here, and I'll go ahead and fit that. Hose is not so great, but this is just temporary until we can get this one fully rebuilt, because this is I think this is the GT bag. I don't know how to identify the number on it. And I've got no telling what this bag was. There's different models. There was Coopers, GTs, and a couple of other types of bags. So different models, and they all have different characteristics. So no idea, but for all intents and purposes, this will give us suspension for a short while until this one gets overhauled. So the replacement unit has been fitted in there nicely now, and I've reinstalled the upper arm, and the upper ball joint's been tightened down. So put the wheel on, we'll lower the car and redo the hydro on this side. And finally, one of the last pieces to put on the car are the original side British Leyland badges. So these are the originals. HYB 3876. The little posts are intact. And after 1971, I think in 72 onwards, they replaced British Leyland with Leyland Australia. So it was important to get the right badge, given that this was a 71 model. We get the British Leyland badges installed. So there we have it. I'll go and repeat the process now and on the other side and install the other badge. It is warmed up. There we go. Put a new throttle cable in. The other one was jamming and it was really revving up and getting stuck. So I've just installed a nice new throttle cable, nice and responsive.